Hello everyone, this is SG DeVries, and today my video is a little bit different. My previous couple of videos have been about toys that I've been building, but today it's about a new machine that I finally have been wanting it for about 10 years now, and it is a new thickness sander. My new thickness sander is this tool right here. It is the second tool that I own now from a company called Byrnes Model Machines, based out of Florida. The first machine, of course, is the saw. If you recognize this, this is the Jim Byrnes table saw, which I've owned for about 10 years. And quite frankly, I use it every day. It's 10 years old. It works as good as the day I bought it. And I have such a high opinion of that saw that I had no qualms whatsoever about finally buying a thickness sander. I've wanted it for a long time. I'm going to zoom in on the machine itself for just a little bit, and then we'll take a look at some of the features before turning it on and running some wood through it. It's quite hefty. It actually feels heavier out of the box than it did when I picked up the box from the door. Most of this machine is made from, this is plate aluminum, quite thick, quite heavy. The table is also solid plate aluminum, quite thick, held together by cap screws. It is very, very sturdy. It's got rubber feet on it, so I know it's not going to slide anywhere when I'm running wood through it. Standard dust port that most machines have. I'll have to build an adapter for that because it doesn't matter what machine I buy or what hose attachments I buy, nothing ever fits quite right. So I'll probably be building a specialty attachment for that. For today, we'll just be sort of jerry-rigging something onto that to make the dust collection work. But I'll build something for that in the future. On the back of this machine is the adjustment dial right here, which, let me tip it up just a little bit here. You can see it runs on a nice big fine screw. There's a couple of springs in here which pull the table back down. And the top of this dial, you might not be able to see that in the video, has little notches in it. And according to the paperwork and the website, each one of these notches represents about 2/1000ths of thickness. If we take the top off here a minute, there's these thumb screws. We pull this off, you can take a look at the sanding drum here. Nice clean sandpaper. It's got two thicknesses of sandpaper installed on it right now. There's two separate bars here that screw into the aluminum cylinder there, so you can put on two different grits at the same time. Each sandpaper thing is 3 inches wide, so for a total of 6 inches. When I bought this, I also paid a little bit of extra to buy the optional 6-inch bar, which can screw in there if you're going to screw in just a 1/6 inch of one grit of sandpaper. Honestly, knowing the way that I work, I will probably have a 6-inch width of the same grit sandpaper on it most of the time, just knowing the way that I work. But for now, we'll just test it out with the two grits. This is an 80 and this is a 180, which comes installed on. But because this is just flat stock, it's not a sleeve. It's flat stock that it wedges in there with this little wedge-shaped piece. You can put any grit of sandpaper that you want to on here. So we will put this back on and here a second and then take a listen to it. Now while I'm screwing this in, I have bought the 110 volt model. Of course, I'm in the US and it's just a lot easier. But he does also sell a 220 volt model if you live in a country that has that as your standard outlet. Nice big heavy duty motor under here. Runs on a belt that goes up through the side, which turns the drum on top. Your switch on the side, we're going to turn that on. Very, very quiet. I can have a normal tone voice conversation while this is running, and you can hardly hear it at all. Now I am currently building a steamroller toy, which will be the subject of my next video. If you want to check out my other toys, there's other videos on that. But for this toy, I've got several pieces of wood here that I have been waiting to get this machine before I run it. I have a very lousy bandsaw, and so I can do some resawing, but I deliberately resaw a bit thicker because I know that I can't really get a very accurate resaw. Matter of fact, even looking at this, I can see that it's not quite the same thickness from this side to this side. We're going to fix that because I want these pieces to be exactly 3/8 of an inch thick when I'm done with them. Alright, well that doesn't look terribly glamorous for a dust collection connection, but it'll work for today and for the purposes of this demonstration. So first, we are going to take this piece and we're just going to sort of set the height on this thing. Alright, we're just starting to touch right there. So we're going to set it at here right now, turn it on, and let her go. the dust collection seems to be working pretty good. I don't see any dust really, collecting anywhere majorly on the machine. All right, let's zero this out again. We'll see where we are. 0.414. 0.414. 0.415. 0.415. Let's check the middles. 414. 414. So 0.414 inches I'm talking about right now, with one of the sides measuring at about 0.415. So one side of this is 1/1000th of an inch thicker than the other. Now we're going to take this down to the exact thickness that I need of 0.375, and we'll see how close we can get to that. All right, I have run this board through several times, because again, it's the first piece of wood that I've used. I ran it through on the rough side to get it down to within a couple of hundredths, and then I took the rest of the way down using the narrow, or the finer grit sandpaper. And we're just going to see how accurate this is right now. So let's see. I don't know if you see that. 0.3750 inches. Now we're, you don't get much more close to 3/8 of an inch than that. Next corner. 0.3745. So we're 1/2,000th off on that corner. Let's try the other edge. 0.3745. 0.375. So 2 out of my 4 corners are 1/2,000th of an inch, slightly different thickness than the rest of it, which quite honestly, for woodworking, is way closer even than I need to be. But I like being accurate, and this machine is going to give it to me. Now, one thing I did want to check on here was to see just how big of a capacity this had. The table is all the way down right now. All right, this is probably 3/4. Yeah, 0.745. Easily have space under there. So not going to fit 1 1/4 inches, but that's okay. That is 1 1/8. It's not quite going to fit that. It will definitely fit down to 1 inch thick. And this is 1 inch worth of thickness right here. So you're getting over 1 inch. You could sand stuff down to exactly 1 inch thick on this. You could not go a whole lot thicker. I'm guessing I got about 3/32 of an inch clearance under there between the top of this board and the roller. So I could go to about 1 1/16 thick. Inch is the largest practical that I could go. But still, that's pretty good. Most people who are going to use something of this accuracy are going to go to a lot. You're going to want to build, something that's, 9/1000th of an inch thick or something crazy like that. So to sum up, I've run the first couple of pieces of wood through here just to test it out, and so far it has met my expectations. It is solidly built. There is no plastic on this thing except for the, the dust port here that's screwed on. Everything else is all aluminum. And thick aluminum, not just thin flexible stuff. So I have no concerns about the quality of the build and the consistency of the sandings that I'm going to make on this. I'll try it out for about a month and put that on at the end of this video to see what I think of it after a month. The only negative that I can see right at this point, and it's not really a negative, it's just something I wasn't quite prepared for and I had to make compensations for as I went through, is that with the 2 different grits of sandpaper on the sanding drum, there's 2 different thicknesses of paper. And so if I'm at one setting, if I run it through the thick side, and without moving the table, run it through the other side, I have to adjust the table height, otherwise the wood just slides right through without even contacting the drum. It's probably something I should have thought of ahead of time, so it's not that big of a deal. So you'll have to make adjustments for that if you choose to use the 2 grits of sandpaper on it. We'll see after a month. I still suspect that I'm probably going to end up using one finer grit, like 180 or something like that, and just taking several smaller cuts rather, because I want to be able to use larger pieces rather than going through each side and adjusting it. I'll probably do that, but we'll add that on at the end. But my first impressions after just opening it and using it for about a half an hour here is that I'm going to enjoy it a lot. I've had no issues with changing the paper. I've had no issues with the motor bogging down on anything. Just like any thickness sander, of course, you want to be limited to how much you try to take off at each time. And I have found that the thinner wood that I use, or that I'm trying to sand down, the less I should take off each time. I did build this pushing stick, just to the width of here. This is about a 1/4 inch thick, and you can see I have several places, I don't know if you can see that on the camera or not, where I have actually hit this into the spinning drum because I'm going thinner than a 1/4 inch. But this seems to work pretty well. If this ever gets sanded down too far, I'll just cut it off and stick a new one on. And like all other thickness sanders, I have also found when I'm pushing it through here, I really want to put my hand on this as soon as it hits the other side here. As soon as I can get my thumb on here, I want to hold it down. That's to prevent snipe and to prevent this from tipping up or having the force of that wheel spinning on it. Want to pull this thing up. So as long as I keep this down, keep the pushing stick going right through, I've had no issues with the wheel catching on anything. And all in all, this is an awesome machine. It's heavy, it's durable, it's built well, and I fully expect to get years and years of use out of this machine. My thumbs up.